All right, so let's just get right into it. If you've ever, and I mean ever, tried to meditate, you know the struggle, right? You sit down, you close your eyes, you're trying to focus, and suddenly your brain is everywhere else. You're planning dinner, you're replaying some conversation from yesterday, anywhere but here and now. And it can be so frustrating. But what if I told you that struggle, that constant effort, isn't the whole story? What if it's just the training wheels phase of a journey that gets, well, a whole lot easier? This is not a new problem. This question was asked thousands of years ago. We're talking about the warrior Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita. He's basically throwing his hands up and saying, how on earth do I control this wild thing called my mind? It's a question that just echoes through the ages, and it perfectly captures that challenge that we all face. So that's really the million-dollar question, isn't it? Why is the mind so tough to manage? And more importantly, is there a way to get beyond this really difficult stage? Well, the answer, it turns out, is a definite yes. But it requires a pretty big shift in how we think about the whole process. Okay, let's start with the part we all know and maybe don't love, the effort. Think about the beginning stages of meditation like learning to ride a bike. You absolutely need those training wheels. Yeah, they're clunky, they're not graceful, but they are 100% essential for you to find your balance. The exact same thing is true for the mind. And these are our training wheels. Those meditation apps on your phone, the specific breathing techniques you learn, the strict schedules you try to keep, those are your training wheels. They're all external supports we use to discipline a mind that's just used to running wild. They are the groundwork, for sure, but they are not the destination. So, while you're in this effortful training wheels phase, how do you even know if you're making any progress? Well, the Vedantic tradition offers this beautiful and really simple tool, the APB yardstick. After a session, you can just ask yourself these three little questions. A, for absorption. Was I really focused? P, for peace. Did I feel a sense of calm? And B, for bliss. Was there even a little touch of inner joy? It's not about judging yourself. It's just about having an inner compass for the journey. And this inner dashboard kind of shows how that journey builds. We all start at stage 1A, the scattered mind, where our thoughts are just bouncing off the walls. But with some routine and discipline, we get to 1B, building foundation, where we get these little moments of clarity. Then, with longer focus, we can hit 1C, emerging stability, and feel that very first taste of an inward pull. And you can see that APB rating going up with each stage. And right around here, at about the 50% mark on that inner dashboard, something incredible starts to happen. This isn't just another step up the ladder, it's a fundamental shift. It's the point where all that effort, all that training prepares you for a totally different kind of experience. This is where the training wheels start to feel wobbly, because guess what? You don't really need them anymore. This is it, the turning point. This is where the whole nature of the practice completely transforms. It's the moment the journey goes from being something you do to something that starts happening to you. It's when the system engages autopilot. Oh, I just love this quote from Swami Bhajananda because it nails the change so perfectly. The first half of the journey is you, the shepherd, actively pushing and herding your scattered thoughts. But that's not the goal. True meditation, what's called dhyana, is when a natural inward pull takes over and the sheep, our thoughts, start to go home all on their own. So this is the whole game, right here. The ultimate aim isn't to just get better and better at pushing your mind around, it's to create the right conditions for the mind to be pulled inward. And to really get this, a modern analogy can be incredibly helpful. Okay, let's have a little fun with this. Think of dhyana as a Tesla on autopilot. The effort you put in, all your practice and discipline, that's like the repeated feedback loops needed to train the car's AI. And that inward pull we just talked about, that's the autonomous navigation, the full self-driving feature kicking in. And the Guru's grace, which we'll get to in a second, that's like the supercharger network, providing all the power. The car literally starts to drive itself. So this brings us to a deeper, more subtle part of the journey. If the car starts driving itself, what's the software? What is the hidden algorithm that activates this autopilot mode? Well, in spiritual terms, this is what's often called grace. Now, using our modern analogy, grace isn't some random and mystical thing. You can think of it as the hidden algorithm that activates when the system has received enough high-quality training data. And what's that data? It's your discipline, your effort, your focus, and maybe most importantly, your sincerity. You're basically preparing the system for a major upgrade. And this reveals this kind of dual architecture. You can't have one without the other. Your discipline and self-effort build the ground station. That part is absolutely essential. But the ground station can't receive the signal on its own. Grace is the satellite link that activates the whole system and provides that inward current.
And this is a really key distinction. Secular meditation a lot of the time aims to calm and strengthen the self, which is incredibly valuable. It's like becoming a super stable, confident bike rider with your training wheels still on. But spiritual meditation aims to see beyond the self, to merge into that effortless state of dhyana. And that leap, that requires the satellite link of grace.
So, how is that bridge built? This is where the concept of the guru, or a spiritual guide, often comes in. There's this gap, this discontinuity, that our own effort just can't cross. The guru is described as the principle or the person that helps you make that connection, the one that bridges your ground station to the satellite. They don't do the work for you, but they help facilitate that connection to grace.
So where is all of this going? What's the destination of this whole journey? It's a state called dhyana. Now, from the perspective of someone who's still wrestling with those training wheels, this can sound almost impossible. It's the state where meditation literally starts to meditate itself. And this captures the feeling perfectly. Dhyana is when all that effort transforms into pure receptivity. Your awareness isn't being pushed or forced anymore. It's simply flowing inward on its own, uninterrupted, like a steady stream of oil. It's effortless, smooth, continuous. Which brings us right back to the beginning. Back to Arjuna, wondering how he could ever control his wind-like mind. So who are the rare few who don't have this problem? The answer is so simple, and it's profound. The ones who don't struggle with Arjuna's question, they're the ones who are off the training wheels. They've moved from effort to receptivity. They're no longer pushing the mind, because they're being pulled by that inward current of dhyana. But does that mean control is impossible for the rest of us? Not at all. There's this wonderful story where a spiritual master was asked about this. His reply was pretty funny, but so insightful. He said, "As someone who claims their mind wanders to count a big bundle of cash, I guarantee their mind won't wander for a second. Why? Because there's a real seriousness of purpose. It just shows the mind can be trained when we bring that same importance to our inner work." So let's put it all together. This slide is a perfect summary. Our practice, our training wheels, steadies the mind. Dispassion, which is just a fancy word for letting go of attachments, frees it from its usual distractions. But ultimately, it is grace that activates the autopilot and drives it all home. And I think this is the most important takeaway. This whole journey doesn't reject effort. In fact, it honors it. It sees effort as the absolutely necessary foundation. You have to build the ground station. You perfect your effort, you bring sincerity and discipline to the table until you are ready for grace to take over. So we'll end with this question. Your effort can take you a long, long way. It can get you to that 50% crossing point. But what does it mean to truly prepare for grace? You know, it's probably not about trying harder, but maybe about practicing with more sincerity, more devotion, and just an open readiness for when that autopilot finally engages. It's something to reflect on.